2017. This would mark the release year of the powerhouse handheld that is the Nintendo Switch. This would be the console to follow on from the Wii U, which unsurprisingly had a mixed reception, and here Nintendo would go all the way on their hybrid design, allowing gamers to play the same console both on the go and docked as a home console. With 3 variants to choose from, players wonder if the original model, with 3 variants for player to choose from, many wonder if the original model is still worth picking up over the more portable Switch Lite or more vibrant OLED model. So in this video I will be going over whether or not you should pick up the non-OLED OG model of the Nintendo Switch in 2024. So to keep this video nice and simple, I will simply be comparing the non-OLED version to the OLED Switch, and if you are looking for a Switch Lite comparison, there is another video on the channel. It may be on the way, or depending on when you watch this video, it may already be on the channel, and if it is, I'll be sure to put the card in the top right so you can jump over to that if the Switch Lite is what you're considering to pick up. But as for this video, it will just be between the 2 dockable switches. So jumping straight into it, we have the performance and features, and luckily for the non-OLED users, the specs are the same, absolutely identical between the OLED and non-OLED models, with an Nvidia Tegra chip as well as 4GB of RAM. The gameplay is practically identical with its performance, frame rates and game compatibility, so there's nothing to worry about there, and of course the hybrid design remains unchanged, with users being able to play it in handheld mode or pop it into a dock that is connected to a TV or monitor and play on a bigger screen. The core experience with the popular games is consistent across both models, so that's something that you don't need to worry about if you are deciding between the 2 and are unsure if one of them is going to give you better frame rates. The frame rates are going to be the same across the board. Of course, this could vary if you do have a worn down Switch and the chip is not as strong as it used to be and it's just wearing away. It may dip or have a few crashes here and there, but that's at no fault of its specs and more so just to do with time, unfortunately, as the OLED model is newer. So you would expect any second-hand ones that you pick up, those will of course run fairly smoother compared to the oldest of the non-OLED models. So that's definitely something to consider if you are picking it up second-hand, but if you are picking it up brand new, there's absolutely nothing to worry about. Moving on to the display and visual experiences, so this is where they will differ quite greatly. So the non-OLED model has a 6.2-inch LCD screen, while the OLED model, as you would expect, has an OLED screen that is 7 inches. So it is slightly bigger, and of course it does provide much better colour accuracy, contrast and deeper blacks. Handheld gamers may prefer the OLED model, as it will show a lot sharper and more vibrant when you're playing in handheld mode, as the screen's smaller and it's more concentrated, but definitely don't make this deter you from the non-OLED model, as that is still very functional to this day, and I have one myself that I don't really see the reason to pick up an OLED version, other than maybe having that extra 0.8 inches on the screen. As colours, I'm not too fussed with what I'm getting, as the Nintendo Switch, I practically just have it for its exclusive games, and I'm not really too fussed about spending another 100 or having to go through the effort of selling my current Switch to pick up this new one just for the sake of better colours. Then we move on to the battery life and build quality. So the battery life is very similar between both models, ranging between 4.5 and 9 hours, and for the most part, I don't think you will notice the battery life being too different, as if you are playing those more hefty games that drain the battery life quite quickly, you're probably going to be grabbing the charger regardless. Whether or not you have that extra 30 minutes to an hour, it might be even shorter, but for the most part, battery life probably isn't something to consider as a deciding factor. As for the build quality, this is quick and easy. The OLED model is a much sturdier build than the non-OLED. Not to say that the non-OLED is poor build, but for the most part, the OLED version does do a much better job of making it feel more premium, as you would expect. And for the kickstand specifically, if you are looking to pop your Switch into its tabletop mode, the OLED version does have a much better version of the kickstand, but I think this is only something to consider if you are looking to use that tabletop mode quite often, and I mean very often, because the non-OLED version, while it is very durable, it does lack that premium feel, and the kickstand stability isn't as good as the OLED, but it only really wears down if you are using that tabletop mode a lot, where I think the OLED model doesn't run into that same issue. And then finally we have the price consideration, which of course will be quite a big deciding factor for players as to which model of the Nintendo Switch they will be picking up, and the non-OLED model typically costs around £50 less than the OLED model. Of course, you can do your own conversions for your respective country as to what the prices are there, but if you are in the UK, it's roughly £300 for the OLED model and £250 for the non-OLED. This, of course, isn't too big of a difference, or it may be, as of course I don't know your financial situation, but this is definitely something to be aware of if you are buying on a budget, as the non-OLED model does have a very strong value for budget-conscious buyers, especially if you are looking to only play the Nintendo Switch in its docked mode. It's definitely a great entry point for families or casual gamers that don't have a strong focus on the visual quality, but if you are a handheld gamer exclusively, it's probably worth looking into adding on that additional £50 or so you can pick up that slightly bigger and more vibrant portable device. As for the potential longevity of these devices, there are rumours that the Nintendo Switch 2 is on the horizon, and this could of course affect the appeal of the non-OLED and OLED models. Nintendo is yet to say anything officially about this, and it is likely that Nintendo will continue to support the original Switch for several more years, as they've done in the past with the Wii U and the Wii, for example, when their subsequent consoles were released. So to answer the question of whether or not the non-OLED model of the Nintendo Switch is worth picking up in 2024, I would say yes. It is still a great choice for those budget-conscious players, or those primarily using the docked mode, and of course if you do have the extra budget, feel free to pick up that OLED model for that superior display quality. But for the most part, both models will provide that same core experience, with the choice depending on personal priorities and what you as a gamer are wanting to receive from your gaming experience. And with that said guys, that does bring us to the end of this video. Be sure to drop down below what Nintendo Switch you think is the most worth it, and I look forward to seeing how the opinions differ in the comment section. And of course, if you do have any questions about either of the Switches as you are considering to pick one of them up, be sure to drop that down below and we will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Be sure to smash that like button if you did enjoy the video, learn anything new. It is extremely appreciated and it does go a long way. We are an up and coming YouTube tech channel, so it would be super appreciated. Be sure to subscribe for a lot more tech videos. There will be a lot on the way, and there is a Nintendo Switch Lite video that will release shortly after this one. It may already be out depending on when you watch this video, but I'm sure you will find out a lot of information there for the Switch Lite if that's one of the devices you are considering to pick up. And thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.